Hi there. My name is John Bray, broker and owner of Bray Homes Realty here in San Diego County. And my wife Jennifer and I are local agents that specialize in the 55 plus and active adult communities throughout the county. Today, I want to talk about what has taken place in the third quarter of this year in the 55 plus communities. So if you are interested in hearing about our inventory, active listings, number of sales, and prices, then please keep watching. Thank you. So, how did the total sales numbers compare in Q3 this year to Q3 last year? Well, pretty much the same. As you can see, last year there were 171 sales that took place in the third quarter compared to this year, 168 sales. So, pretty much flat, which is great. If you do compare Q2 compared to this year of Q3, there were 187 sales, so we were down slightly in Q3 of this year compared to the second quarter, which is pretty normal because our busiest selling season tends to be in the spring, early summer months. So if you've seen any of my prior videos, you know that this is one of my favorite slides that I've created, which is simply a monthly sales volume comparison, comparing month to month, but also comparing to the same month of last year. 2022 last year, that is blue. 2023 current year is 2023. And then we have our black line, which is the number of active listings at the end of that month. So if we look at this graph, you know from the previous graph, there were 168 total sales in Q3, but now we can see where those sales took place. The busiest month of the last quarter was in August with 63 sales, and then it went down by 10 sales in September, while the inventory at the end of the month went up. So you could see that with 66 total active listings at the end of August, and it increased to 77 in September. Still quite different from the beginning part of the year, where January was a very slow month in terms of sales activity, in spite of having a lot of homes on the market, which is represented by that 96 at the top of that black line. And so, what that meant, if there were no new homes hitting the market, it was going to take roughly 3 months to sell through all of the active inventory. Well, compare that to March, April, May, and June, where the number of sales in each of the month exceeded the number of active listings that we had. So we had less than 1 month of supply. Well, that is now going back up. And again, sales activity slows down as we get later in the year, closer to the holidays. And so we are now seeing it take longer to go through the number of active listings that we have. So 53 sales in September and 77 active listings. So the average days on market until sold is an important metric that I like to take a look at and keep an eye on. And this is simply a comparison between the first month of the year versus the last month, which was September, in a side-by-side comparison. And we can see that it was taking much longer for the homes in January to sell, 48 days on average, versus only 19 here at the end of September, which is the end of Q3. So still homes are moving quite a lot faster than what they were at the beginning of the year, which of course that also makes sense because if you recall from the prior slide, when we took a look at the month of supply, we were roughly 3 months of supply at the end of January compared to we were basically a little over a month of supply at the end of September. So the homes that are selling are still selling quite quickly. So if you're considering making an offer on a home, many homes are still getting multiple offers. They could be going over list price, but at the same time, they're sitting around a little bit longer than what they were a couple of months ago, but still not nearly as long as they were at the beginning of the year. Now on this graph, I've accidentally flipped colors, so keep in mind that blue is September, January is red. But what this shows you, the days on market, I'm just sharing with you the largest communities, the most active communities that we have in San Diego County, the average days on market until sold. So while last month we had 19 as an average days on market, now you can just see it by community. So Oceana, that's a larger, I'm actually showing a combination of all the Oceana communities in Oceanside. 28 days, average days on market. Oaks North in Rancho Bernardo, 21. Seven Oaks, the neighboring community just a couple of miles away from Oaks North, had 15 days. And Ocean Hills, very large, active 55 plus gated community in Oceanside, 19 days, so right at the average. But if you're just looking at this as a whole and comparing it to January, you'll see in each of these communities, the days on market is still considerably less than where it was in January when we had a lot more inventory and a lot less sales activity taking place. Now, as we look at just some of the details in a couple specific segments, this first segment is the detached homes that were sold in third quarter. There were 47 homes sold in total with the average sales price of $955,000, and the median sale price was just under a million, almost at $997,000. So for a single family detached home, we're looking the average size is 1728 square feet, which is a 2-bedroom, sometimes can be 3-bedroom, but 2-bed with a den, with the highest sale price being $2 million, and that was a former model home, beautiful home in the luxury 55 plus community of Auberge at Del Sur. And then the lowest sales price was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home in Seven Oaks. That's that home on the very top of your screen. That home on the bottom, that is that former model home in Auberge. Now we'll take a quick look at the manufactured homes that were sold in the third quarter, which there were a total of 19. The average sale price was $616,000 with a median price at $610,000. Average size home, little over 1,500 square feet, that was built in 1988 on average. Highest sale price, 2 homes, same price, same community, Rancho Carlsbad, beautiful 55 plus gated community. There were 2 homes, gorgeous home of our clients on that bottom right. They were able to purchase that home. And then we have the lowest price, $515,000, which was a 1,300 square foot home in Pilgrim Creek Estates. That's that photo on the top. And that is a flipped home, which they did a great job remodeling that, turned a home that had been quite outdated into something that was really, really quite lovely. So for a moment, I want to jump back into the single family detached market here in San Diego. You can see on this graph in September, that's the red highlighted, the median sales price over the last 12 months was $910,000. So let me explain. What this means is not the sales that took place within September were $910,000 for a median price. This means all sales over the last 12 months, so from October 1st of last year through September of this year, the median sale price was $910,000, which is up significantly from where we were at the end of August, where we were well under $900,000. So the median sale price has gone up as we have seen our prices increase throughout this year. It would make sense that the single family median price of a home in San Diego has also gone up. This chart is not one that I've created, but comes to us from the North County San Diego Association of Realtors, which I am a member. And this is showing all the activity in North County, San Diego for all communities, which are all ages, not just 55 plus. So quite a bit more sales activity taking place. And if we look over to the right, the rolling 12-month numbers, that top portion of this chart represents the detached single family homes. And you can see substantially number of pending and closed sales that have taken place, well over 6,000. And the median sales price for a home in North County for single family detached over the last 12 months is $1,030,000. Average sale price over the last 12 months is substantially higher, over 1.4, but just that median sale price, little over $1 million, which is still greater than what we are seeing in terms of a median sale price within just the 55 plus communities. So as a real estate broker here in San Diego County, I think the question I most often get asked is, how's the market? And when people are asking this, I believe that what they often want to talk about are home prices. So I'm going to take a minute and just talk about what we've seen recently over the past year, year and a half for home prices here in San Diego County. This graph comes from the Redfin Data Center. I've shared this with you. I've got a link to it in the description as well, just in case that you would like to take a look at it and further analyze it at your own. But I'm going to help kind of break this down for you. There's 2 lines here. The black represents last year. From left to right, that is January, goes through the end of year in December. So you can see that line, the first part of last year, rose sharply. Our median sale price increased, actually peaked in June of last year. Then we had an announcement for an interest rate increase, kind of shocked the market. And then we saw the median sale price go down. Basically, it gave back everything that we had gained last year. Then we get to this year, that's the blue line. We're obviously not finished yet, but you can see starting in January, again, that's the left-hand side, really till about February, we were flat, and then home prices, just like last year, continued to go up throughout those spring and the summer months. And we actually have increased where we were last year. Now, I've got that little box over the right side where it shows a year over year increase, and you can see that it says 9%. Now, that does not mean that we are actually 9% higher than where we were at the peak last year. We're just a little bit over that. All that means is we are 9% greater than where we were at this same time last year in early October. And so we know that prices started going down the second part of last year, where this year we know they've been going up and really kind of have flattened out over the past month to 2 months. And I want to take a look at a little bit shorter term period just so you can see maybe how have prices been a little bit more recent. Okay, so the last graph is great, but I want to try to take a look at what's happening now, more in the short term. And so same thing with this graph. This is analyzing black line last year, blue line this year. Difference with this graph is we're looking at closings that have taken place over a 4-week period versus the last graph, we were looking at closings that took place over a 12-week period. And so for the last graph, we had a fairly flat line from the end of August to and actually through September. So for about a month, a little over a month and a half, we saw this flat line. Where in this graph, we actually see this blue line having peaked and then going down. Now this is analyzing closings that have taken place over the last 4 weeks. So our median sales price over the last 4-week period actually was higher than it was on the last graph, and that peaked over 900,000, so at 905,000, and that was at the end of August. But now, as you fast forward to October, we can see that the median sales price is down to 863. So what this shows us is in the short term, last 4 weeks of closing, which really means those homes likely went pending 4 weeks prior to that, those sales are actually down in price. So we can see when we are looking at data over a shorter term period, we can see a bigger difference in our increases and both our drops, which we now have seen really over the last month to almost month and a half for our sales prices. So in the short term, prices actually have gone down for a median sale price here in San Diego County. And we could expect if the inventory remains higher than what the number of active listings are, days on market goes up, month of supply goes up, then we could likely see a continued decrease in some of our prices as we go through our slower selling season, which is the late fall and winter months here in San Diego County. Well, there you have it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this information helpful. I will check back in with you for a market update here in San Diego in January. Until then, have a great rest of the year, and I'll see you then.